permit. Some building owners choose to secure that through an advertising company, and then later down the road convert that to third-party commercial use for the Nikes and Toyotas of the world, and advertise and make money from that. There are ways to do that. The next page is just an idea of some of the advertisers that we have in our portfolio. It's a small sampling of some of ours. There's obviously hundreds of companies that would love to have advertising space in New York City. And just a note on that, even with the down economy, the outdoor advertising industry, although it's down a bit, it's still relatively robust. Outdoor advertising is good value. It's affordable. In fact, you can see some accounts taking money out of TV and other types of advertising and pushing it over to outdoor advertising just because they get really good bang for the buck. So it's still a good industry. It's been around for a long, long time. And for those of you interested in talking about opportunities, we'd love to talk with you. And on the last page, you can jot down my phone number or catch me after the presentation.
Great, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
So, excellent speech. Questions? That's awesome. Oh, here we go, right here.
Municipalities, the municipal business that we developed starting about 10 years ago was to generate advertising revenue for cities, but along the way providing a public amenity. And that's being done here in New York City in a big way, even though you don't maybe recognize it. When you see to some people, beautiful new bus shelters going up, the glass structures at a bus stop, those are all funded through advertising. It's a 20-year contract with the city of New York. We did similar things, providing bus shelters, kiosks, informational booths, all at no charge for the city. So we actually fund the infrastructure up front. And then we have a 10 or 20-year contract where we take receive the revenue from advertising.
Great. Any other questions right here?
Right.
What do you say to whom? What do you say to the lender when 40% of your income comes from advertising and you don't have permits for it?
Oh, that's a good question. And you'd mentioned a grandfathered permit. If it was grandfathered, that would be bankable. But grandfathering of a sign would be documented with either a city document or copies of, for example, the law from 1979. If it was built prior to 1979, it's grandfathered and it can be there forever. So in terms of how you document that, again, it would be either something from the Department of Buildings or a copy of that grandfathering act that was done in 1979. So I don't know if it was done before or prior to that, before or after that. Okay.
Yeah, the one question is, can you apply cost segregation to your advertising space?
Say that again.
Can you apply cost segregation to your advertising space?
I'm gonna have a chat here with our prior speaker and work it out. You bet.
All right. Was someone over here?
Yeah, I think I saw a hand right there. There
Are there any
is
regulations based on the type?
There is. If you go with an
medium?
LCD screen, I mean, the LCD screens that we manage are all indoors in healthcare facilities. But if you're putting up a Times Square style LCD board, because it is on at night and flashing, there's fairly stringent rules about that. And there have been situations where screens were put up in places other than Times Square where it did cause problems because of residential neighborhoods, and so there are laws specifically for that.
So we have a question right here. Can you use zoning to determine potential locations of advertising?
Sure. The best zones would be manufacturing zones, M1. Those are really the best. And within that category of manufacturing zones, those that are not on an arterial highway. So, for example, not on the West Side Highway, but in an M zone. So, signage on 10th Avenue and 23rd Street would be a perfect example. C zones, you can get, commercial zones, you can get permits for signage. Tends to be a lot smaller, so not as big as you'd see on in a manufacturing zone. And residential is very limited.
Great. One more question? Right here.
Yeah, quick question. I think you gave a comment earlier today. You mentioned briefly about arterial highways, how the number of workers increased in the area. And I know it was more important 7 years ago, and I think it's cracked down recently on eliminating the number of workers within 500 yards of arterial highways.
Correct. Parks, right. The question is about city regulations and going back to the city's movement recently to enforce the laws that are on the books, and also they fought a couple lawsuits and recently won against a large media company for the placement of new structures on highways, specifically highways. There's a section of the law that addresses that specifically, and I think is it Whitney? Yeah, hi Whitney. Your question was how.
Are you avoiding those? I see that there's other services that posted on billboards in the highways.
So the question is, are we avoiding those areas? We are. We're focusing more on the manufacturing zones off the arterial highways. There are companies that are not avoiding it. They're continuing to build and expand. And then also, just kind of in closing, because Whitney and I had a chat the other day, there's a sort of fourth category, if you will, that I'd like to mention, which is if you have a retail venue on the ground level of your building and it's vacant, Whitney's company does what's called in windows. So they actually take over your retail space until it's leased and install advertising actually within the windows. And it's kind of a new thing. It's very dynamic. And it's another growing category of the outdoor industry.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Paul.
Okay, thank you.